Hey guys, so I'm back here and today I'm going to show you how to properly get this little wheel cleaned out. Now you can try to get in there with some tweezers and pull as much out as you can, and if you do that often enough then you can probably keep it pretty clean. But if you're like most people and you noticed it after it was too late and there's just so much in there that it was just really hard to get out, or maybe you've gotten most of it out and you still can't get a little bit left because a lot of times it wraps up underneath the actual wheel part, then this is going to show you how to really take the whole thing apart so that you can properly clean out that axle if you still have this wheel there altogether. A lot of these actually will come in the door and this is just completely missing. And what happens is the wheel gets jammed up with hair, it stops turning, and then it basically just starts developing a flat spot and just rubbing away, and then over time this is just completely missing. I've seen some where this whole area is just flattened, there's a whole flat spot there because of the fact that the wheel came out and wore off. So alright, so the first thing you're going to do is if you haven't gotten your cleaner head down to this point, I will put a link in the description that will take you up to this point on another video that I've already done. So, and this is going to be for most Dyson cleaner heads, and you can expect that there's going to be a few minor differences depending on the model that you have. This particular model that I have is a DC41. So if you have a DC41, then it will most likely be very similar, if not identical, process as far as the screws. The process is the same across all of the cleaner heads, but there might be some little differences along the way. So for instance, if you have a UP14, UP13, then there might be another plastic strip across here, like a little baffle. So anyways, if you can follow along, I hope this helps and is going to help you accomplish getting that little wheel cleaned out. So we're going to remove the 5 screws here. Some models have 6. So you're going to remove all the screws that you see in this area, and basically those screws are keeping this head part here connected to the clear nozzle. So you're going to remove those screws.
And try to keep your screws together so that you don't lose track of which ones go where.
Now that you've got your screws out, you can go ahead and pull this up, and this gives you access to the motor assembly. Now, I'm going to, just for the sake of convenience, just get these wires out of my way. And so you can disconnect those. And then the whole motor will just pull out. Okay? What we need to do is we need to take off the screw here and this screw. On some of them, it's only one screw. So you'll locate that one screw that separates this portion here from the motor. From there, what you're going to see is 2 more screws. One here, and then there's actually 3 screws, sorry. But 2 screws on the back and then 1 on the front. Okay, so you're going to use your T15 Torx to take off these 2 screws. And then I think it's an 8. And then a T8 to take off this screw. And from there, this will separate. And what you can do is, if it's being difficult, you'll have to convince it with some screwdrivers and just try to pry it slowly and gently, just like that. And then what I usually try to do is I try to push it so that this part of the spindle stays in place. Basically on the other side, there's a bearing that clips and holds into this part here. So I just try to push just this piece out because this is really the only piece we need to remove in order to properly pull out this this wheel and axle. So as you can see, you can get everything cleaned out of this little wheel, and this wheel is actually pretty worn down, but I have not been able to find a replacement wheel. So I just try to keep them clean when I can, and if it's not too late. So I'm just taking a little knife and cutting off that hair. And then if you slide it in one more time, sometimes it'll push out a little bit more junk. So now just go back in reverse order, install everything back in place. So get that wheel and axle back in place, and then get your cover here, and make sure that your axle is going to line up. Okay. Get that pressed down, and then you wouldn't get your screws back in.
So your two T15 silver screws go in. And then your T8 screw.
Okay, then get your motor back on to your mating piece here and screw that back down. And while you have your motor out, if you do have a air compressor, it's a good time to blow out any of the dust and hair that is around this cooling fan. So I'm gonna go do that real quick. Now I think it goes without saying, if you have taken the parts apart to this extent, then you can take advantage of that opportunity to go ahead and wash the parts. Now in this particular example, I'm just going to be taking it apart for a demonstration of the video. This is a customer's vacuum cleaner, and they only authorize the like the basic level service. So I'm not going the full 9 yards on this one. But anyways, I want to let you know that, just because I'm not cleaning it doesn't mean you can't clean it. You just want to make sure that you don't submerge your motor in the water. So if you have taken advantage of that and now your parts are nice and clean and completely dry, then I can walk you through how to put it back together. So now the key here is just getting your wires routed back in place, and so you're going to plug your wires back in, your contacts, and then you can just take a small little screwdriver and just gently push them back into the channel.
And this is where the model will be a little different. So you may not have this exact type of setup for your cables, but you just want to basically feed your wiring back down as gently as you can so that they stay in place. So then when you put it back together, you're not going to be dealing with wires that got pinched because they weren't secured when you're putting different pieces together.
That's usually the main purpose of wires, like having particular routes and staying in place. Okay. All right, so you've got your wires in place there. This little spot where it kind of like goes around there. And you can see there's enough play in that wire so that as this is swiveling, it's not going to be yanking this wire out. All right, so get your cover, put it back on. All right, there's one detail that I want you to notice when the top cover is going on, there is a lip right inside of here that needs to be inserted properly. Otherwise, if it's outside of there, it's not going to rotate correctly. So you do have to make sure that you get this little lip fed into this spot right. And then you can rescrew everything back in place, and you have successfully cleaned out this little motor wheel. and hopefully save yourself from having to replace the whole cleaner head, because once this wheel flattens and the axle breaks out, then you can't just get those parts. You have to get the whole cleaner head again to fix that. And if that's happening a lot, if you have tile floors and stuff like that, then you will want to try to do that, especially if you have a lot of long hair. So people who have a lot of long hair, those are the most susceptible to this issue happening too. So I hope this helps, and if you like the video, just give me a like and subscribe if you like as well. Also, I do this for a living, and so if it was beneficial and of value to you, then I'm more than pleased to take tips. I have my PayPal in the description for that reason. So if it was valuable to you, then I always appreciate anybody throwing me a couple bucks as a thank you. So hope this helps, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, bye.